Dr. Aras Bozkurt, who is going to deliver his content on the topic, Generative AI in the Educational Landscape, the Hypes and Promises. A short profile of Dr. Aras Bozkurt. He's a researcher and faculty member at Anadolu University with MA and PhD degrees in distance education. His work focuses on empirical studies in distance education, online learning, network learning, educational technology, social network analysis, sentiment analysis, and data mining. Dr. Bozkurt's studies also covers the integration of artificial intelligence technologies into educational processes in the access of human-machine interactions. His dedication to advancing the fields of e-learning and education in general is reflected in his editorial roles as the editor-in-chief of Open Process, an Asian Journal of Distance Education, as well as his roles as an associate editor for prestigious journals like Higher Education Research and Development, Online Learning, eLearn Magazine, and Computer Applications in Engineering Education. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, with a round of applause, let's welcome Dr. Aras Bozkurt to deliver his content.
I think it is time to start, right? Let me share my screen. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm really happy to attend your conference at Ghana. And I also would like to thank Frank, to my friend, for making my participation possible. Today, I will make a presentation entitled Generative AI in the Education Landscape, the Hypes and Promises. Let me briefly introduce myself. I am an associate professor of distance education at Anadolu University, Turkey. Indeed, I want to give you a good news on the occasion of this event. Let's take predictions. What do you think that has changed in my life? Frank, do you have an idea, or anybody? What can this change be? On November 30, 2022, a very sweet baby was born. But this baby is not only my baby, but all of us, we named it Generative AI. And today we will talk about Generative AI. First of all, let's start with the question, why Generative AI in education? To find the answer to this question, we need to compare past and present. Generative AI was able to understand human language and produce content about 2 years ago. But now it sees, hears, and speaks. Therefore, it can communicate, and communication and interaction is the most important social material in education. The content it produces is not limited to text. It also produces audio content as well as text, and it produces visuals such as graphics as well as visuals such as film and animation. And what we have seen so far is the trailer of the film. The film itself indeed promises more. At the end of the day, an advanced technology that will enable social communication and interaction is now with us. Here, I would like to draw attention to the distinction between robots that have physical presence and bots that can communicate and interact through an interface. Although we are only talking about bots for now, robots will soon find their place in the AI equation, and this adventure will become more exciting. The emergence of generative artificial intelligence, which emerged at the end of 2022, made a lot of noise in about 2 years. Following its emergence, Bill Gates tells us that the age of artificial intelligence has officially begun. According to the Gates, there will be artificial intelligence in almost every aspect of our lives, including education, and therefore we should talk, reflect, and discuss this technology today to take the right steps and in the future. And this talk is indeed one of the steps to be better prepared for an AI-dominated future. During my presentation, how I approach to generative AI. Indeed, Marshall McLuhan interprets technology as an extension that increases human capacity, and I interpret AI as an extension of human cognition, and therefore a technology that will increase humans' information processing capacity. And I share my experiences with you from this perspective. In fact, throughout this presentation, we will answer 3 main questions: what, why, and how questions together on the axis of generative AI. Humans have always been fascinated by the idea of machines that can think like humans. In the age of AI, the age of AI has begun, but first, let's go back a little and follow the footsteps of the idea of AI in the past. According to some technology thinkers, the age of artificial intelligence has already begun, and we are actually experiencing this process at the end of the first quarter of the 2000. However, human beings have always been fascinated by the idea of machines imitating their own intelligence, and contrary to the popular belief, this goes back to centuries. In line with this idea, different research, sometimes scientific and sometimes fictional, can be mentioned throughout history. From the works of Rene Descartes to popular movies such as Terminator, AI featured in our narratives many times. An interesting point in this quest is that although the word artificial evokes negative connotations, the concept of artificial intelligence evokes positive connotations. While mankind is developing narratives that always end badly with AI, as in the movies like Terminator, humans also make a lot of effort to develop this technology. Therefore, sometimes I wonder if we are creating our own executioner and falling in love with the executioner we have created. Despite the developments mentioned earlier, one of the most significant turning points in the tangible sense of AI was the invention of ENIAC in 1945. The first computer was metaphorically called a giant electronic brain, and this comparison can be thought of not just for processing power, but as a brain where AI could come to life, operate, and algorithmically think. So humanity's 3,000-year-long fictional and conceptual pursuit ended in 1945 with the coining of the concept of artificial intelligence, and the invention of computer and rapid developments have taken place up to present day. In the 20th century, AI began to take on a more serious tone. In 1950, Alan Turing published a paper entitled Computing Machinery and Intelligence, in which he proposed the Turing test, a test of machines' ability to exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of a human. The Turing test is indeed still used today as a benchmark for AI. Some of these ideas, most of them conceptual or fictional, have gone beyond science fiction stories. For example, Isaac Asimov, one of my favorites, men in that area, introduced the three laws of robotics, which explains the human-machine relationships. If this is the case, what is artificial intelligence, and when this concept first appeared, and how was it defined? The concept of artificial intelligence was first proposed in 1955 by John McCarthy and his colleagues. In their proposal, it is assumed that learning or intelligence, as we know, can be imitated by a machine, and this is referred to be AI. More recently, another definition was proposed by the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and it was also adopted by OECD and European Union member states. This definition, the definition provided by the UNICEF is more comprehensive, and it doesn't merely rely on data. It identifies the role of humans and systems that operate autonomously, and those that appear to operate autonomously, then puts an emphasis on interactions with humans, which is further useful in terms of framing AI technologies in the educational landscape. When it comes to defining generative AI, it is a technology that uses neural networks to identify the patterns and structures within existing data to generate new and original content. In short, generative AI doesn't only predict based on algorithms and models, it also generates, and the raw material it uses is the language we use to communicate. Our second question explores the question of why. Now, let's engage in a mental exercise. I will pose you a question aloud, but I want you to answer it silently. What is the most sophisticated technology ever invented by humans? Even though your answers will be silent, I can guess the responses from here. Some of you will give answers like invention of the wheel of fire, and some of you will give answers like the invention of digital technologies like computer and internet. However, the cornerstone of all these technologies is language. It's not merely a means of communication, it is the technology that has shaped civilizations. Language indeed encodes our socio-cultural DNA, influencing every aspect of human development. Throughout history, technologies utilizing language have been major turning points. These include the invention of writing, which enabled the symbolic processing of language, the printing press, which facilitated dissemination of knowledge more widely and rapidly, and the creation of computers, which were capable of processing binary language. Unlike from generic AI, generative AI has the potential to master human language, one of the most complex and sophisticated technologies ever created, and to use human knowledge to identify patterns, and this may allude to human perception. When properly trained, generative AI is a powerful tool that can learn, unlearn, and relearn language, which allows it to adapt and evolve with the human communication needs. Every new technology, including generative AI, brings some opportunities and challenges. In order to emphasize this situation, the economists depicted generative AI as both an angel and a devil on its cover. We can better understand the answer to this question of whether generative AI is an angel or devil by looking at the opportunities and challenges provided us. In fact, many opportunities can be mentioned, but I think the efficiency it gives us and the fact that it's always accessible is very important. However, we generally talk about personalized learning, adaptive learning, and I feel that these opportunities, kind of cliche words with every emerging technologies. But the challenges that characterize him as a devil are significant, and there is a need for special focus to look at these challenges. For instance, algorithmic bias, reliability of the knowledge sources, inequality and inequity in access to such technologies, lack of creativity, privacy and ethics concerns, technical complexity and dependence on technology can be considered as the challenges provided us with generative AI. All in all, opportunities and challenges coexist. Perhaps the question is not whether AI should be introduced into education, but rather how, when, by whom, and for what purposes AI should be used in education. Looking back to history of education, developments in education have always been accompanied by advancements in science and technology. However, it is human agency that has led to educational development, not any technology. Therefore, we can argue that what we get in the speculative future will depend on how we perceive these technologies and position them with care and intention in the educational landscape. The second stage of our presentation focuses on the question of how and how it can be used in the educational processes. Currently, some argue that AI is getting pretty good at imitating human language. However, it is essential to note that it is still echoing what is learned, not truly understanding it. This means what it produces is synthetic. It is crafting new pieces from what it has been fed, not creating from the scratch or understanding like we do. Why does this matter? As we explore the world of open educational resources and practices, we are starting to blend human-made, in other words, organic, and AI-generated, that is, synthetic content. This mix raises big questions. How do we use technology responsibly? How do we ensure the quality and authenticity of what we are learning and teaching? As we blend AI with open educational resources, indeed, we are on the edge of a revolution. Imagine a world where educators don't write textbooks, but instead craft prompts that guide AI in creating interactive learning conversations. This could not only make education more engaging, but also bridge the gap between exclusive, paid-for materials and open accessible resources. But this new frontier comes with challenges. How do we harness AI to enhance education while keeping the human touch? Generative AI is not about technology, it is about partnership. As it learns to speak our language, we are prompted to think deeper about the content it creates, whether it's from us humans or from AI itself. This isn't just about who is creating the information, but it is also about how we are working together to do it. This era of collaboration is exciting, but now we are entering a new phase where AI doesn't just process information for us, it creates it alongside us. This blurs the line between human-generated and AI-generated content, making AI a co-creator in our educational knowledge ecosystem. What does this mean for us? It means we need to rethink creativity, ownership, and wisdom in the digital age. AI is becoming an integral part of how we learn and understand the world, raising important questions about authorship and the value of machine-created versus human-created knowledge. Imagine creating something amazing, but no one can claim it. That's where we are at with AI-generated content currently. Current copyright laws say if a human didn't make it, it cannot be protected. This means anything generative AI creates could technically belong to everyone from the get-go. But it is not that simple. Indeed, this is a chance for free-to-use educational materials, as in the case of OERs and more broadly OEP. Yet, questions about authorship are open to further debates. After all, if only humans can legally own their creations, where does that leave AI's work, especially when the work is built on human-made content to begin with? This creates a bit of a puzzle. AI is learning from stuff that already exists, so who really owns the new things it makes? It is a gray area that is sparking a lot of debates, especially when we think about using AI to create learning materials. That's what I believe that. That's why what I believe that it is a conversation that is just beginning, and it is one we will need to explore carefully as we move forward in this exciting journey with generative AI. The question on everyone's mind is that, can generative AI be credited as a co-author? It is a hot topic. On one side, some say yes, crediting AI as a co-author for its contributions, but others argue that a technology without conscience cannot be credited as an author. The consensus is that AI shouldn't be listed as a co-author. Why? Because authorship comes with responsibilities like accountability for what's written and the ability to stand by your work. Besides, generative AI cannot take responsibility or participate in the intellectual discourse that follows to publication. So while AI revolutionizing how we create, the debate on its role in the authorship stresses the need for clear guidance to recognize human effort and accountability. Academic integrity is the backbone of all scholarly work, grounded in 6 key values: honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. It is what keeps the academic world ethical and trustworthy. But here's the thing. With AI in the mix, maintaining honesty and trust in education is more challenging and crucial than ever. AI can be a tool for learning or a temptation for shortcutting. Balancing its benefits with ethical use is our next big challenge. How do we do that? My suggestion would be being transparent about AI's role in our works. Indeed, transparency is key. Whether AI helps us brainstorm, write, or analyze, we need to be clear about where its work ends and ours begins. This isn't just about honesty. It is about ensuring that our work remains meaningful and original. To address this issue, I propose the academic integrity and transparency in AI's research and specification framework for acknowledging and disclosing the use of generative AI in scholarly writing and to maintain academic integrity, transparency, and ethics. In this framework, key is to ensure that final human oversight and ethical responsibility remain central. This framework encourages a balanced acknowledgement of AI's role, which fosters integrity and transparency in academic writing. I would like to continue by saying, how should we prepare for an AI-dominated future? I would like to draw your attention to two crucial concepts. The first one is prompt engineering, and the second one is generative AI literacy. The first concept that answers the how question is generative AI literacy. Along with generative AI technologies, using these technologies effectively and having AI literacy has emerged as an important skill. Artificial intelligence literacy is not only about skills for effective technology use, but it is also about knowing and understanding AI, using and applying it, evaluating and creating it, and to have a good understanding of ethical cases. Considering that generative AI cannot read human thoughts, clear and well-structured prompts are essential for facilitating accurate and meaningful generative AI responses. And the second significant focus is therefore prompt engineering. In this context, one of the important skills is the ability to use and implement effectively, and this requires the concept of prompt engineering to be taken into account seriously. Prompt engineering is an increasingly important skill set required to communicate effectively with large language models such as ChatGPT, Gemini, or other generative AI technologies. Because the results of open-ended prompts can be uncertain, structured prompts that accurately describe what is desired and how it is desired are important for getting the desired outputs. A small change or a different word choice in the prompt shows that fine workmanship is required in text-based prompts to get really quality outputs from generative AI. In this context, in order for both general users, educators, and students to use generative AI technologies effectively and efficiently, having basic prompt engineering skills are considered as a necessary skill for the meaningful adaptation of generative AI tools to learning and teaching processes. At this point, I would like to introduce the prompt engineering for generative AI framework. We can assume that prompts as the wishes as in the story of Aladdin's magic lamp, and the genie coming out of the Aladdin's magic lamp as a generative AI. Hopefully, you know that story. It's a story known in Turkey and many European countries. The difference from the story is that there is no limit to the number of the wishes, but you must give the prompts that is your wishes purposefully. With this approach, the 4 letters of the word generative in the name of the frame are arranged as I, and genie as is referred to the genie coming out of the magic lamp. This framework consists of 10 principles that you should be aware and 15 strategies that you should implement. If you are interested with the topic, you can explore this publication. In all, we are not only transitioning into the age of AI, but we are also witnessing the emergence of the AI-empowered semantic web, commonly known as Web 3.0. During such times, new technologies like generative AI can be disruptive and, in some cases, scary. These technologies possess their own strengths and limitations, but it is crucial to remember that they will improve over time, and many of their limitations may disappear even before we even realize them. In the face of it, we can neither disregard, resist, nor deny the presence of generative AI-driven conversational agents. The capacity for these agents to employ human language and communication and interaction implies there is an inevitable paradigm shift. There are instances where generative AI has been criticized for generating superficial or false information and not living up to initial expectations. However, it is important to acknowledge that this limitation is not exclusive to AI, as humans are also fallible and imperfect. It would be naive to expect these technologies to be error-free. The ongoing discourse on AI brings to mind an old song. Many of us heard this song with the introduction of television and later computers, internet, and smart mobile tools present us with a familiar tune. These technologies didn't deceive or fool us. Rather, they significantly contributed to the human progress and accelerated the rate at which knowledge doubled. Presently, the song remains unchanged, but the technology has evolved and the pace of the technology song has quickened. At this point, what we need to do is genuinely listen to the song and creatively adapt our dance moves to harmonize with the melody. This killer technology will undoubtedly have a profound impact on not only our ways of teaching and learning, but also the ways we think. As we continue to explore the possibilities of generative AI in education, it is really critical that we maintain a critical and reflective stance, carefully considering the promises and challenges associated with this technology. While this slide implies I am nearly at the end of my presentation, indeed, this discussion marks just the beginning of our journey into the possibilities of generative AI in education. We aim to deepen our understanding and encourage continuous research and dialogue. Our objective is to utilize generative AI both responsibly and creatively to foster a more inclusive and innovative educational landscape. Now, here is the critical question for the future of education. How will we position generative AI in the educational landscape? Will it remain a supplementary tool, or will it evolve into a central technology in our educational systems? The decisions we make today, whether we see AI as a mere tool or as a key component, will undoubtedly shape the future. As a final word, please be aware that generative AI will not replace humans or human teachers, but those who use generative AI well will replace those who do not. Thank you for being here and listening to me. While this slide implies the end of the presentation, it doesn't imply the end of this conversation. So please feel free to communicate for further conversations.
Very much, Dr. Aras Bozkurt. A summary, he says,